The following podcast is a Dear Media production.
Don't pump on, better dance, dance. Wear these spandex pants, pants. My ass looks good when I dance, dance. Don't pump on, just dance, dance. Leg woman's
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Superficial Magic, the most magical place on the planet. I am your host, Megan Granger, and we are joined by co-host Dana Moon.
Hi, everybody.
Dana Moon Me.
Dana Moon Me.
Got that podcast, Dana Moon Me.
Here she is.
So today's guest is Sean Breathwaite.
Oh.
He's an astrologer to the stars, also known as Astrology Guy. And we talk about communication, relationships, purpose, and how hot Sean is.
Is his last name Breathway?
Wait, Breathwaite.
Well, he takes my breath right away by how gorgeous he is.
It's distracting.
Yeah. He's beyond gorgeous.
And even more than that, he's so empathetic, and present empathy. The feeling in the room talking to him, it totally changes your cellular vibes.
I mean, I was like, I feel like I'm a better person by being around you, and I
Thank you.
No, by being around Sean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not you.
I do not bring that part out of people.
Oh my God. He's so present.
Yeah, he's just, we're really excited. He's been on the podcast before, but today we were able to go into some deeper stuff. It's a Cancer moon right now, so he kind of tells us what's going on with that. You've probably been a lot more emotional lately. You've probably had the want to go more inward. He kind of explains how to work with that, and we are now going to have him on for every changing season. He's going to come in, so 4 times a year. He's going to come in,
give us some updates,
update us
what's going on with the planets,
what's going on, how we can work with it, and how we can keep manifesting to the T.
He's our in-house astrologist, if you will,
and he's got some big celebrity names, so we're lucky.
We're very lucky, yeah.
I'm a little distracted by how hot Sean is because of this poster outside of a man with his shirt off.
Did you see Twilight? Remember Jacob from Twilight?
Uh-huh.
He kind of gives me those vibes.
Okay. Wow, that kid, his father ruined his career.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Jacob again? What was it? I don't even remember his name.
Oh, I can't tell you his name.
Yeah, his dad ruined it. Look it up, you guys. Very, very important.
So we talk a lot about communication and how astrology tells you about the wiring. Like the date you were born, the time you were born. That to me, I had no idea. Like, I'm wired differently.
And he kind of read how we would communicate with each other through that. So that's a really fun thing to do if you ever want to look it up. I think he explains it pretty well, but you can also do sessions with him. But you can take you and your partner, or you and your business partner, your romantic partner, whatever, and kind of look how each of you are wired and what you're going to hit up against in your relationships and how you can communicate better through it, which is
everything. Yeah. Speaking of relationships.
Oh, Dana. Are we going there?
How are yours?
Last night I had an amazing night.
Okay.
I was feeling kind of bad. I haven't been able to sleep. And I went to meet our friend for a little drink. She wanted to talk to me about her private session with Whitney Ullum, which everybody should be following. She's amazing. And she left. My friend left to go home. And I was just still staying out, finishing my drink because I didn't want to go home for some reason. And then this guy, the motorcycle boy from a few episodes ago,
Hottie with a body,
walks in. And I'm like, hi. And he's like, oh, hi. I mean, come on, universe.
I feel like you just go places and people that you mean to see just show up. It keeps happening to you.
Certainly felt that way. So because he's been asking to hang out and I've been saying no because, again, he got out of the relationship, whatever. So this kind of forced the hand. So he was like, I'm going to go get my motorcycle, go change, and I'll pick you up at your house. we live by each other and this bar is by us, so it wasn't a big, to do. So I go get changed. He goes and gets the motorcycle. We go on the most fun ride ever. We go up to the hills of like Glendale, and we're looking down over the glimmering city, and it's just beautiful. And we talk about Abraham Hicks forever. And we weren't high, but we realized something really important that sounds like we were high, which is just basically that infinity is expanding. And that's all that's just what the universe is trying to show us.
To expand?
Yeah. Infinitely.
Ooh. You're like a motorcycle sage person.
Yeah, we were just like, oh my God, our limitations are so embarrassingly dumb and it's infinite. And believe me, at the time, it felt real groundbreaking, really groundbreaking stuff. So then we came back down on the motorcycle. I went and he dropped me off at my house to get my mouth guard and my toothbrush.
Super sexy.
I fed Finn and he was like, just come stay with me at my house. And I went to his house and he gave me a little half a Xanax and a little puff of weed.
This is what Motorcycle Megan does now.
And a little sippy of beer.
Motorcycle has changed you.
And I was just carried into his bed by this 6
By him?
3.
He carried you into bed?
Yeah, because I was so sleepy and put to sleep by this hot ass man.
Did he read you a story?
He read me a story. And he just
Did he give you blankie?
He gave me blankie.
Did he give you teddy?
Mm-hmm. And he cuddled me all night.
Night, Motorcycle Megan. Night.
Night, motorcycle man. Oh my God. And I slept like a little baby and I woke up this morning and left. We didn't hook up. Didn't even make out. It was just what the doctor ordered.
Little ride and split.
A little ride, a little
motorcycle ride,
snuggle. And I
out.
slept, and I'm not taking a nap today. This is a reset straight from God, goddess.
I love that you guys had that conversation about expansion because we talked about that with Sean.
Exactly.
About how the universe just really wants you to grow and loves it. And
it's its favorite game.
Yeah. And the more you expand and the more you grow, you get that high. For me, it's a runner's high.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just my go-to. I'm a homebody. I like to be at home. If I am going to meet out somebody for a drink, it's the bar under my house.
Yeah, you don't like to leave.
I don't like to stray far. I don't like dangerous things. A motorcycle, not quite my speed. I don't particularly like handsome men even. I like dorky dudes. Mm-hmm. So this is just riding around with a bona fide hunk.
You're
Come
expanding.
On. I'm expanding.
Look at you.
I'm doing something outside the box. So the universe better reward me. That's all I'm saying.
Amazing.
You look great today because you've been to some big Hollywood meetings.
I just walk in a business meeting with my shades on and I let them know what's up.
Yeah.
That's the key thing when you go into a Hollywood business meeting.
I feel like your life has been exploding right now. You've been meeting with some really big people.
And it all kind of happened at once. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of, I don't know, somebody was like, how are you meeting with all of these people at these networks? And I was like, I don't know. It just happened. And I I don't know. I'm I don't want to push it away. I want to keep being more of this, more of this.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of scared that I'm going to go back to how I was before with fear.
You're going to go back to no meeting Dana?
No meeting Dana. And I want to keep the momentum going, but
no motorcycle Megan, no meeting Dana. We don't need that.
I know. I think that's just, I guess that's a natural human response to be is this too good to be true?
No, you're gonna more meetings. You're about to blow up
in more ways than one.
Yeah, you were gone this weekend.
I was in Sacramento, and let me just tell you, I'm never talking shit on LA again because I missed it so much. I missed my friends. I missed you guys. I was kind of a lonely rat in my little comedy condo.
Oh my God.
I felt like a little lone wolf.
Aww.
I felt like a little animal.
Oh no.
I was a stray dog. And I had no home.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm making this sound so bad, but Sacramento, I'm so sorry for people who live there. I'm sorry. There was nothing to do there.
No. I know.
And the shows were fun. A lot of people came up to me and they were like, "Why aren't you the headliner?" And so that happened a lot. And I was like, "Why am I not the headliner?"
Great question.
So this was a huge growth weekend for me.
Yep.
Because I realized, not only did I realize it, I saw how I was holding myself back.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I don't want to accept
I don't want to do that anymore.
I don't want to accept it anymore.
And you don't have to.
Level up.
Level up. We get sued for just singing the song.
Should that be our intro song?
I would die for it to be our intro song. Actually, I have it written down right here. New intro song. We are making one.
Megan sings, I rap. Is that what's happening?
I think so.
Yeah.
So this Saturday we're going to a birthday. Our musician friend is coming.
Yes.
And he said he's ready to work on it.
There?
Yeah.
I feel like that's not the place.
No, this is the place. This is the time. The last song him and I wrote was in a pool. We work well.
You know I'm doing Molly at this party.
Oh yeah.
I've never done it before and I'm decided I'm going to do it.
Okay, great.
Look, you guys, if Molly's there, I'm going to do it.
I'm not doing it, so I will just record all the raps that you lay down.
Okay.
Okay?
I feel like I'm just going to be dancing.
I
think I'm just going to be dancing the whole time.
I hope so. Okay, so I found a new company that makes great female products.
It is Lola. It's a female-founded company offering a line of organic cotton tampons, pads, liners, and they offer sex products too.
Okay, so I got the tampons in the mail, and as everybody knows, I've struggled with BV forever. I talk about it all the time. It's a pH imbalance. So these tampons actually help your pH because there's no artificial things in it. It's not bleached. There's no, it's BPA free. So these are the perfect thing to use if you want to keep your pH balanced. And even if you don't have BV, it's so good for you to not have these normal tampons that we've been used to.
And I use the personal lubricant already, and it is water-based. It's mess-free. It's formulated to give you a healthy pH, and I will never go back to anything else.
Yeah, you've been singing the praises of this stuff. I love it. Also, it comes straight to your door, which is great.
You can order online.
Cancel anytime.
And if you go right now to mylola.com, you can enter in our promo code for 40% off.
And the promo is superficial. So please go check it out. Truly so amazing that it's female owned and funded and ran and all natural and comes straight to your door. So let us know what you think about it. Join us on the Superficial Magic Facebook group, Superficial Magic Vibrators, and share this episode with a friend. Rate it 5 stars.
Go to Sean's Instagram at Astrology Guy.
Also go to his YouTube channel and just stare at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's perfect.
Enjoy the episode.
Have fun. Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited. Okay, so you were telling me the moon, we're moving into a new season.
Yes.
Tell me more.
Okay, so right now we're actually in Virgo, which is the time of year where you're kind of spiritually meant to assess the parts of your life that are lacking. Right, because we know Virgos are very critical, they're perfectionist, and they're kind of like they're burden to carry as a sign, as the sign Virgo, is to never feel like things are actually good enough. Okay, so if you know any Virgos, have compassion for that. They're not just critiquing everyone else; they're doing the same thing to themselves. So the thing is, during the month of Virgo, we all have the opportunity to kind of feel a similar energy, which is like noticing the lack in our life or noticing the parts of our lives that we want to improve upon. So rather than stay with that and continue to play that same movie about why you're unhappy, it's like notice it and then decide what you're going to do to kind of transform that energy and improve upon it.
Okay, were you in my head this weekend? Because that's my
I was.
entire experience. I had the weirdest but a profound weekend at a comedy club where I was just like, okay, all of the, like, I want to like elevate everything in my life.
Right. That's
like, I
this
wanna,
time of year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're feeling. You're feeling it at the right time. Because the thing is, if you're connected to like your inner voice, then, and as a Scorpio, you're naturally going to be that way. So you're connected to your inner voice. So you're feeling, okay, there's things I need to improve upon. There's things I need to do. I want to change things. I want to grow. I want to be better. And the month of Virgo is the perfect time to assess those things and really plant those new seeds and establish that new like version of who you want to be.
So what does that look like though? Sorry, Dana, keep going.
No.
I was just going to say, do you just like make a list and write down like, this is what I need to change. This is what I want different.
Well, you basically say to yourself, okay, what are they? You usually have basically 3 areas of your life: your personal, the things you want to do just for you physically, then the things you want to do for yourself spiritually, and then the things you want to do for yourself mentally. So if you can kind of pick one main thing in each of those areas, you'll be more likely to stick with it. Because if you make a list, you're more likely to not get to everything on the list. Then you'll be beating yourself up about that.
That's what I do. I'm like, change everything.
Right, exactly.
And every single area of my life needs to go.
That's taking on too much, Dana. Way too much.
I know. I put too much on my plate and then I go insane. But is it okay? So this is the time for transformation.
Yes.
Also, you can say that during any time, right?
Well, not really.
Aren't we always transforming?
We are always transforming. That's true. But there's certain times of the year where
That
the
it's more
energy is
powerful.
more focused and more powerful for that type of
So the
situation.
energy's helping us transform.
Yes. That's why everyone's focusing on
okay.
kind of what they don't like or what they want to change, when you don't usually do that during spring or during like, you know, the first month of summer during Cancer. Usually during the month of Cancer, you're usually thinking, I need to be in love. I really want to have a relationship right now. And then there's other times of the year where like the last thing I want is a relationship. I just want to go have fun and be single.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you know what's been helping me recently is that it's like a minor shift in my thinking where I'm like, okay, the universe is helping me. Like, she's on my side.
That's a major
Yes.
shift.
So
That's huge.
whenever
That is big.
something feels too big, I kind of like relax and I'm like, I think of her as a woman. It's like a friend who's on my side. And it's actually like, it's made me chill out.
God is a woman, Dana.
God
and
is a
she
woman.
right there for you.
Ariana Grande.
Yes.
So can we use Dana's chart and these 3 things to help her think of 3 goals?
Absolutely.
I think that would be really fun.
I would love that. I would
Okay.
love that. Before though, for everybody, like, is it dark? Because this is something that I was kind of going through last night. Like, when you're shifting things in your life, like, is there a denseness that you feel, like energetically? Like, it just feels not overwhelming, but
like heavy.
It feels heavy,
Right.
Like something is like trying to like morph.
Well, the thing is that will be kind of the initial feeling, but then based on your perspective and how you choose to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? How you choose to process that energy, that will help you lighten the load, so to speak.
Okay.
It's basically like you were saying, when you think that, you know, the universe has your back, you know, if you really understand that when you're in the flow, everything that happens in your life is in your best interest. If you see each circumstance as, okay, even though this is crappy right now, or this is challenging, for some reason or somehow it's in my best interest, let me find how it's in my best interest. That will lighten the burden of just thinking, okay, why does everything feel so heavy right now? It's like kind of just accepting that this is all happening in my best interest. So let me just go with it and see how I can come out on the other side a better and stronger version of myself.
I love that. I love it. Okay, so wait, we're gonna get into the charts?
Well, yeah, I think we should. I think everybody, I want to show people how to do this 3, like pick the 3 things.
Right.
So you said mental, personal, and spiritual,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So Dana is her moon. You did her chart. And her
I did. Her sun sign is Scorpio.
What
Her
up?
moon sign is Leo.
A.
And her rising sign is
Psycho.
Cancer.
Just kidding.
So, and just to kind of break that down really quick, like your rising sign is based on the time of your birth, and that's how you're first perceived by people, right?
Okay.
And yours is Cancer, which is a water sign. And each element has a baby, a teenager, and an adult. And Cancer's the baby of the water signs. So your first impression will be very youthful, very like fun-loving. You know what I mean? Like, you'll want to laugh a lot. You'll also want to like talk a lot of crap about the things that are going around and see the humor in it, you know?
Okay.
That's your natural way of first interacting with people. And you also have like a sweet kind of caretaking disposition when you first meet people. Then once they get past that and they get to your sun sign, Scorpio,
here we go.
Yes, that's a water sign too, but that's the teenage version. So you're emotional, but emotional more like a teenager in terms of like there'll be a lot going on, but everyone won't know about it. You'll be more, like in terms of not trusting necessarily immediately. It takes a while to get to really know you. Even though when people first meet you, they'll think, oh, she's so open, she's so friendly, she's, so talkative. But the truth is there's a lot going on
I'm
that
hiding.
they don't know. Yeah, you're hiding.
What do they say? Like Scorpios are like dark and mysterious. That's like the number one. And secretive. That's what they say about Scorpios.
And the reason for that is because it's the second phase of the emotional element, which is water. And think about it, when you're a baby, you're totally open. You're like, you show every emotion. You get upset, you start screaming and crying, you're happy, you're cracking up. It all switches so quickly. That's more like Cancer. Scorpios are the teenage version, and when you first start to learn yourself as a young adult, as a teenager, when you're emotional, you're more hidden, you're more secretive because you don't want to be vulnerable.
Right.
And that's what Scorpio represents. And then Pisces is the oldest version of the water signs, and that's why they're more open and kind of more willing to show kind of everything that's going on.
Got it.
So I'm Leo.
Leo moon.
I'm Leo moon.
Yeah, so moon is how you're wired emotionally. So basically like your sun sign is your main personality. It's almost like if you want to think of it as your thoughts. Your brain is kind of your sun sign because that's how we work on a day-to-day basis.
So my brain is a child.
Your brain is a teenager. Your brain is a teenager.
You're the
Scorpio.
teenager,
Yeah,
Dana.
yes. And then your moon sign is kind of how you're emotionally wired. So think of that as your heart, like your emotional wiring. So your heart is Leo, which is also a teenager. So you're basically teenager, baby. If we stir that up, that gives us Dana.
That makes so much sense. I feel like I'm like baby teenager.
But the cool thing is about Leo, which really softens up or lightens up your Scorpio energy, is Leo is so not hidden about anything. Leo is outspoken. Leo like wants to have fun. Leo is like, it's like an explosion of fiery energy. So you'll have that Scorpio part of you that's very like discerning or like can break down a situation very clearly and wants to be guarded. But then you have a whole nother side that just wants to be wild and free and not care about any rules. So balancing that together is a really good balance because then you won't be just so hidden and guarded. You have a part of you that's like, you know what, let me let go. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to go for it. And that's a really good balance to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, using those three things.
Yes.
What's like her main, the way you work, which I think is brilliant. And I've never heard of anybody doing it before. Like, I think you're a genius.
Thanks.
You kind of use all this information to figure out what the work in someone's life is.
Right.
So can you see that from Dana's already, or would you need to go further?
No, we could, with her chart, the work more than anything would be finding exactly what it is that you want, right? And then being able to be open and share that with someone that you trust enough to have your back. Do you know what I mean? Like you have a hard time really feeling like somebody's capable of having your back, but you feel very capable of having everyone else's back.
Interesting.
I got your back, Dana.
Liar.
Does that resonate or does
That does.
Okay.
That does. Yeah. Sometimes even I'm like, when I'm alone and the thoughts kind of keep going, I'm like, I think my family's out to get me. Like, and they're not. Like, they're so loving.
It's like
but
borderline paranoia.
I'm kind of like paranoid that I'm like, they're like after me. It's very not okay. But that makes so much sense that you would say that.
Yes, but it's the balance of your chart. It's because you have that part of you that is kind of guarded, but then also that Leo part of you that, you know, really truly wants to be loved and wants to kind of like be able to express that. So having that desire to be loved and wanting to express it, it kind of battles with the Scorpio part of you that wants to keep you safe and guarded.
Guarded, yeah.
Right. So it's creating the blend of those two energies where you aren't having that battle anymore, where they're working together instead of kind of challenging each other for who's going to be in control.
So I have to trust more.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a spiritual goal. Or is that a mental goal?
No, that's a great spiritual goal.
Okay, so
Trust
spiritual goal is
huge.
trust.
Yes.
So you're going to trust more. mental? What's a good mental goal for her?
Mental would be when you're playing that movie in your head, when you have that narrative about something that you think is going on and you're analyzing it.
Yeah.
Realizing that all you need to do in order to diminish that narrative and that energy is communicate. And I mean, we can use that example, even though I know you're kind of kidding, but it's like, let's say you think your family's out to get you,
Yep,
right?
they are.
The communication would just be going to whoever it is you're having these thoughts about and asking, are you out to get me? You know, because the thing is, most of the time,
Mom,
are you out to get me?
we have to talk. Did you hire a hit?
What if she said yes?
If she says yes, run for your life. That would be the physical work.
Oh, okay.
Training yourself to run when people are out to get you.
Okay, so it's just like ask. If you're thinking something, just ask.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised at how
Are you out to get me?
I'm kind of.
At this point, she's like, law of attraction, bitch. Ask and you should.
We're having a breakthrough. It's perfect.
And then what's like a good physical?
A good physical, well, that would have to be something that you kind of come up with on your own in terms of like keeping your physical body as healthy as possible. What's something you can improve upon in that area?
Working out more, because working out is more, I mean, I guess it's a physical / spiritual / mental. It's like, it's everything.
Right.
Because I feel like after I go for a run or a hike, I just have such clarity on life. Mm-hmm. And the things that I make a big deal about are nothing. So it's after a good workout, I think. Isn't that for everybody?
Yeah. I think if you focus on trust, communication, and working out on this month with the energy of the universe helping you, all of those little things would transform.
Exactly. And then like Megan was saying, keeping that idea that you stated earlier, that the universe, everything that happens is in your best interest. So then no matter what
that's
comes
kind of
up,
a game changer.
Yes. Then you'll realize whatever it is, you're like, how is this working for me?
And that's for everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
That really changes the game. Because a lot of times people think, why is this happening to me? I have really bad luck.
They play the victim.
Exactly. Or they're thinking, oh my God, I'm manifesting such horrible things. I'm doing everything wrong.
We almost went down that road today and we got right off of it.
Yeah.
Because we were just having so much trouble with the equipment and whatever. And we were like, why is this always happening? And then we were like, nope.
Done. I'm over it.
We have a very important guest and we can't be in that bad energy.
But I don't know. I also like to look inward for like why things are happening and showing up in my life over and over. So I'm like, is my energy wavering? Am I kind of putting out something like I'm unsure of myself, or, you know, and then that's being reflected in the podcast equipment being like, well, I'm unsure of working. If you're unsure of yourself, then so am I. I kind of go through that, which maybe is might be too in depth. Like,
no, not at all. The thing is, whatever shows up in our life is going to reflect back to us what's going on inside.
Yes.
So
for me, I always want to do that. But then sometimes I'm just like, well, maybe just let it be and then move on so that I'm not replaying and like recycling.
That's true.
Something I don't want to keep living.
Right. And you can always go by when you play it out, how it makes you feel. If you're playing a movie or a narrative that brings negative energy and heaviness, then yes, let that go because it's not working for you in any way. If you can't find the lesson in it, if you can't find how it's working for you, then you're like, okay, well, maybe the only thing in this situation is for me to learn how to let go. So it's still working for me by teaching me how to let go and not replay this.
Yeah. And I went to immediately being like, okay, what am I grateful for in my life? Because I don't want to focus on this anymore. And so it's as simple as like, I have my own apartment, I have my own space. And I was just like, I am so grateful to come home after traveling and like sharing a space with another comic. And then to having my own, and it just reset everything.
That's so great.
It just changed. I was just like instantly in the best mood because I was just appreciating what I have. And I'm like, 6 months ago, I didn't have this. Like, I would come home to a roommate or like other people over or whatever. So
yeah, that's the one place that we're lucky. We always have the choice of where we're going to focus.
Yeah.
That's one thing that cannot be taken from us in any circumstances. On a daily basis and every moment from moment to moment, we always can choose where we're putting our focus. And it will shift our disposition, our emotional disposition, our connection, our mind, body, soul connection. It will all shift with just making the choice to focus on what's in your best interest.
So I have something interesting that when kind of into the focus thing. So like last week, I was focused on everything good and my life was perfect. I was the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. Then this week, I just totally sabotaged every single one of it. Was why?
And welcome to Therapy 101 with Megan Granger.
Well, here's one thing to know just astrologically also that we were kind of talking about when you first got in here was the moon, it plays a huge part in our emotional disposition, where the moon is.
Talking about me?
I'm talking about Dana Moon. She actually plays a huge part in how we all feel about our lives. But it's when the moon shifts every 2 to 3 days. And whatever sign the moon is in, it's going to affect your individual chart in a specific way based on what element you have in common with where the moon is. So for example, today the moon is in Cancer, right? So we have Dana's a water sign, Scorpio. Your moon is water. Megan's moon is water, Scorpio. And my moon is Cancer, water also. So while it's in water, we're going to be feeling more emotional, more heavy, like you were saying earlier, just more easily affected by things like that. So when you shift it from last week into this week, depending on where the moon was, it's going to have you feeling a different way.
Wow. So then when the moon is here and I'm just going to feel this way.
Right.
What do you do? Do you just like kind of take yourself out of the game for a little bit? Like, I'm going to just lay low.
Hide from the world?
Yeah. As much as you can.
Well, the thing is that the best way to go about it is what I've kind of learned over the years and what I kind of share with my clients when they come in to get readings is knowing this information, then we can do the things to counterbalance it. For example, when it's in Cancer, my moon's Cancer, it's going to make me way oversensitive and way over emotional. So if I find myself taking offense to something someone says, instead of me just hiding and saying I'm going to stay in the house while the moon's in Cancer so I don't take offense to anything, I'll check myself and say, okay, Sean, you're clearly overreacting. The moon's in Cancer. So take a deep breath. And if you really want to know if they meant something bad, then ask the question.
You're
What
all
did you
so
mean
for
by that?
asking. It's so good.
The
It's
communication,
so
I'm telling you,
okay.
is the key.
So communication is what we want to talk to you about, actually.
Awesome. Okay, I love that.
Where do we even jump off? First off, are our signs compatible for communication?
I thought you were going to say combative.
Are our signs combative?
Well, here's the great thing about your charts, because you're Scorpio, Dana. Megan, you're Capricorn. Capricorn and Scorpio are extremely compatible. And the reason why they are is because both of them kind of see the world in a very similar way. They really honor the idea of doing things step by step. They honor the idea of having confidence when you've earned the right to have confidence based on accomplishments. Like, they also take their time to get to know someone, to get to trust someone. So you operate in a very similar way. So your communication would be pretty easy. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, I just realized my ex that I dated for 5 years was Capricorn.
Ooh.
See, and that lasted 5 years.
Yeah, we have 5 years together.
We've got 4 more years together, girl.
So speaking of like an intellectual place where your sun sign really is, then like mind to mind, you communicate really well. When you get emotional, however, the game changes a bit because then Megan becomes more Scorpio because your moon is Scorpio and you become more Leo. So if you guys do have a conflict, you're going to be operating more from your moon sign because that's where you operate from when you're emotional. In that circumstance, you would be more likely to kind of blow up and instantly say how you feel, what you're pissed off about, maybe even say something that might be offensive in that moment. That's
very accurate. I do. I had that problem in high school.
It's fire.
I would blow up on people and then walk away.
That's what it is.
People were like, "What's wrong with her?"
But the cool thing about it is once you get over it, then you're like, "What is everybody so pissed about? Why can't we just forget this?"
Yeah.
Because the thing is that's how fire moons are. So if you're communicating with someone else that has fire moon, you can have that interaction where you just blow up at each other, and then 10 minutes later you're like, "Let's go grab a coffee," and you're fine. But if you blow up like that with Megan and you say some things that you can't necessarily take back, they're going to stay because her moon is Scorpio. So knowing that, you'll say, okay, I have to make sure when I communicate with Megan, if it's about something I'm unhappy about when it comes to her, I have to really just stick to kind of what it is and what the resolution is, as opposed to just allowing yourself to kind of blow up and say whatever comes to mind.
She needs to say it in baby talk to me.
Because she needs to be a little sweet about it. You can cuss her out as long as it's in a baby
Yeah,
voice.
if it's in a baby voice. I would say I like communication, even if somebody's like, I don't like that. So much better than somebody just not saying anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Well, and it is so important because a lot of times what we'll do is we'll see how someone's acting or something that they've done. Then we'll make our own conclusions about what that means about them, how they feel about us. Then we'll decide what we're going to do based on that. No communication involved. So now we're living our lives, making choices based on a narrative that we came up with by speculating on what's going on with somebody else instead of just asking them.
and the weirdest thing is when you realize how people think you think about them. And you're like, oh my God,
Yes.
no. Like they're like, and then you did this and like you were feeling that way about me. And it's just like, oh my God, Jurassic Park was just on TV that night and like I wanted to go home. You know, it's always not what you think.
Yeah, so it's like if you're drawing some sort of conclusion or creating a narrative in your head about someone's behavior and what it means, rather than going with that as fact, especially if it's something that's causing negative emotions, your response is negative to what you're thinking, go and have the conversation with them. Why are you being so quiet? Is everything cool? And then the thing is once they respond, you can take them, even if you don't believe them and you're like, I don't know, something's wrong with them. At least you had the conversation and you can take them at their word. And then you can make decisions based on the facts of what that person said about how they feel, as opposed to what we usually do. And I work with a lot of couples and I'm telling you, so much of it is about creating a narrative in your head about
and having
how they
fake arguments for days that never existed.
Exactly. Never getting to
Replaying
resolution
scenarios.
because you're always fighting about perspective.
So what do?
You basically have the conversation about what it is the person did that made you feel a certain way. And then when you come to the table to have that conversation, you also need to know what it is you're asking for in order to feel better. Because if I just come to you and I say, Megan, when you were talking to that guy, it really pissed me off and I can't believe you were doing that.
This is the best news I've heard all day.
I would never do that to you. I can't believe this. Instead of having that conversation, I can say, when you did that, it pissed me off. But can you agree from this point on, if we're out together, to, not do that?
Oh, I promise.
There we go. Resolution.
I just want to let you know this isn't real. This is like a fake scenario.
And it's always that easy, everyone. No, but it's like if you know what you're asking for, then you're good to go. But what happens most of the time is someone comes and explains why they're pissed, and then the other person starts telling them why they shouldn't be because they're explaining why they did what they did.
Right.
Welcome to my childhood.
Right. So
yeah, I couldn't feel the way I felt. Like it wasn't
allowed.
it wasn't validated.
Yes, it wasn't validated. Yeah. And now I feel like what's scary for me and maybe other people is like when you're communicating with somebody and you're speaking your truth and talking about your feelings, there is the possibility of being rejected.
Right.
So that's what kind of is my block, I would say.
But remember, that's going to be our ego, because our ego wants to make sure they're perceived a specific way. If we get away from the idea of caring whether the other person thinks we're right or wrong, or whether the other person thinks we're crazy or overreacting, forget about what they think about how you feel. Express how you feel and then tell them what you're requesting from them. That way you never get into the debate of whether you have the right to feel that way or not. You're just saying, okay, if you care about me, I'm sharing with you how I feel. This is how I feel. I'm not saying you're right or wrong for doing it. I'm just saying this is how I feel. In order to make me feel better, this is what I'd like you to do. Then it keeps us away from that spiraling into that black hole of debating who's right and who's wrong.
So just saying this is how I feel and this is how this is what I want from you.
Exactly.
Oh, that would feel so much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because then the person either says, yes, I can do that, or no, I can't. And then you can make your decisions about the relationship based on the facts of whether they're willing to show up for you or not.
Right.
Instead of debating whether or not you're overreacting or whether or not you're being overly sensitive. Like, that should come off the table completely, because we're all wired so differently.
Right.
That's the beauty of astrology.
Oh,
you can
wow.
kind of understand the difference in the wiring.
So when we're picking companions, is it smart? I mean, what if you have already married someone who might be a bad companion match?
Which I've run into, yes.
Yes. You can make that work, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the cool thing about love, is because love really means something more than just feeling close to someone or feeling turned on by them. Love really means you care enough about that person to make the choice to do the things that make them feel loved. In order to know that, they have to tell you.
That warmed my heart. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
But that's real love.
But and sometimes you don't know what those things are until you talk to somebody
Until
like
you
you
communicate.
who tells me what I'm actually like. You don't tell me what I'm thinking, but you read my chart and you're like, these are some things you're struggling with, and I'm like,
Right.
I have different language to explain to people what I need from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how astrology can really help you. Because that's the thing. It's like most people hear astrology and they think, oh, predicting the future. I try to stay away from that as much as possible because I feel like we create our own future based on our thoughts and our choices and our actions.
Yes.
Right? So it's like we can use astrology, though, to know how we're wired and to know how the people that we care about are wired. So that way we can bridge the gap of disconnection, especially with people who are wired so differently. And if you're in a relationship already with someone who, is, let's say, an element or a sign that you're not compatible with. Okay, great. If you love them, you're still going to be willing to communicate, to understand what it is they require in order to feel loved. And you can make up your mind whether or not that's something that you're capable of doing. If you have two people doing that, both people are satisfied.
So if you are on the same side, then
Yes.
then you're good. And if you're dating somebody across the side, or if your friendships or your business partners, then you're like, oh, we're gonna have to learn how to
Understand their language a little better.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Are there any of really good cross communicators?
There are, in terms of, for example, let's see, if we take, because the thing is with every sign, there's also a leader, an organizer, and a networker. Okay. So if one of the networkers from one side is talking to another networker from another side, even though it's across the elements, then it's good to go. For example, if you have Virgo talking to, let's say Virgo's a networker with Sagittarius. Those two are going to communicate pretty well because they're both kind of open-minded and just want to explore the ideas. And so they're not going to have the same problem that, let's say a Cancer and a Sagittarius would have.
Because Cancer and Sagittarius, what's a Cancer?
Cancer's a leader sign. And then they're also
got
very
it.
emotional, and they're talking to a fire sign that's a networker. So they're instantly,
Got
within
it.
15 minutes, the Sagittarius will have hurt the Cancer's feeling without even knowing it. And the
Like,
Cancer will be
what?
like, they're so mean. I can't believe they just said
Oh my God,
that.
that is so interesting.
Yeah.
So are there just types that I'm like, I know the answer to this is no, but can you just be like, I just want to stay away from that person? Like, it's always going to trigger me. Or is your work to be like, stop being triggered?
Yes, that's the
Got
work.
it.
The thing is, that's the beauty of understanding how they're wired because, for example, Aries sometimes, for me, can be a bit of an annoying sign only because they are kind of self-centered. They're really outspoken. They're always trying to control what everyone's doing, And so rather than me being triggered by that and thinking, you're trying to control my life, I, say to myself, this is how they're wired. They're actually trying to be helpful. This is their version of being loving. Understanding it that way, then I'm not triggered as much.
Right.
I still will, create some boundaries and say, I'm gonna do my own thing. You don't need to run everybody's life in this room. But understanding that's how they're wired, instead of me thinking they're just disregarding people's feelings, and then taking it personally. It's like you can choose basically to, once you understand how they're wired, you can choose how to deal with them the best to get the best out of them.
Okay, I have one more question about this, and it might be really weird, and we can take it out if it is. Okay, so when you're dealing with archetypes, it's come to my attention, if I want to change mine to something more fiery, maybe it's better for me to be around people who aren't fiery so I can take that spot, unconsciously.
That would be good, but then it's also good to be around people that are fiery.
So I can understand how to be as well.
Exactly.
But I need to do both. And
Yes.
that's the same with the signs.
Yes.
If you want to change into more of a kind of sign, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's basically kind of like what I was saying about Aries. Even though they may trigger me, I've actually I kind of make the decision to be around more of them because I'm like, okay, this energy can actually help me step out of my shell more. So they can inspire me to be kind of more like they are. It'll be more of a balanced version, but they can kind of show you how to be more fiery because that's how they're naturally wired.
Mm-hmm. Is the stuff that is the Aries just stuff you've disassociated from? Is it kind of
You mean like how I get triggered by them?
Yeah. Is it something you have to like reintegrate?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
The thing is, once I kind of started to, because I've been studying in astrology for like 20 years now and practicing as an astrologer for about 10. I've learned now how to kind of navigate through each relationship with an open mind and understanding, and not allowing myself to be triggered by those things, because I understand this is how they're wired. Why would I hold something against someone that they're not intentionally doing to hurt me? You know, the thing is, we get triggered when we take it personal.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'm like, they're out to get me.
Yeah.
But they're just, that's just how they're wired.
Right.
Again, people out to get me.
We keep coming back to this common
Really
theme.
interesting theme,
Out to
Dana.
get Dana.
It's coming up so much. I
So
love it.
paranoid. I didn't realize how paranoid I was.
I didn't either. I'm loving this.
I need to stop smoking weed.
But how great is it if you start to implement communication?
Yes.
Then you can kind of diminish any paranoia.
Yeah.
Because you can ask the question.
And it's also not like anything that's confrontational makes me really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I'm just like, the world's gonna explode.
But I find you to be pretty comfortable with it, honestly.
When
you stand up for yourself, and you don't, and like, I don't think you have a block there.
Really? Mm-mm. Because I don't, in the past, I feel like there's so many patterns of like people, me allowing people to kind of like walk all over me, and then me not always standing up for myself. I think maybe now I'm better at it because it happened so many times where I was like, okay, I need to like respect myself and like stand up for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job. I'm inspired by it.
Well, and this is a perfect example. When Megan looks at you and how you behave, she's thinking you always speak up for yourself because of that Leo moon and how you're wired. From her perspective, if she relates it to herself, she's like, well, you speak out for yourself much more than she does. But when you are just relating to your own stuff, you're like, oh my God, I could do this so much more. I could be so much better at this. So that's the perfect example of like when you're kind of interpreting someone based on how you behave.
On your own limitations.
Right. But that's what most of us do, you know? So that's why if we can kind of see someone for how they're wired and understand it's going to be a different set of standards and rules, then it's much easier to kind of navigate that relationship and then communicate your way to a deeper connection.
And everybody has like their main lesson for life.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's through astrology.
Yes. Well, that's the way that I kind of find it is the sun, moon, and rising is one thing, but then there's also something called your true node, which when you look at your true node, that will kind of give you your underlying spiritual kind of lesson to learn. Mm-hmm. Less of a lesson and more of like what the energy that you're meant to transform is.
Okay.
Because a lesson kind of sounds like, okay, well, you need to, learn this to be better. But it's more just transforming and growing. Because, I mean, we're created from the same thing that the earth is created from. The earth is constantly changing and growing. If we embrace the idea that we're constantly meant to change, then it'll be much easier to kind of navigate through these situations and circumstances that are meant for us to grow instead of resisting them.
Ooh, I have goosebumps.
Would you
Yes.
call that like your soul path, or like your soul
Absolutely.
coming through to have that main life lesson?
Yes, absolutely. Because your soul, at least what I believe, is that your soul kind of chooses what vibration to come through on to know exactly what chart is going to be best to establish what energy you're meant to transform. And that's why when you look at a chart, you can say, okay, this is exactly what's going on here. This is what we're working with. This is the best way for you to transform that energy and then manifest the things that you want. Have the relationships that you want to have.
And accelerate your
Exactly.
evolution.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
universe just loves transforming energy.
Absolutely.
That's like its game.
I kind of feel that.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about that on the car ride over here. Dana was like, it's so dumb that me, somebody who wants to be like who I want to be, was born how I was born and raised how I was raised. And I was like, I think it might just be really fun for the universe to have that big of a
More of a challenge.
Well, and that's the great thing about it, because someone like you who gets to transform that energy, how much better you'll be at expressing and teaching others how to transform that energy, because you were meant to transform from one extreme to another.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like when you look at someone who's worked out and you see the before and after picture. Someone who's made a major transformation, you're like, oh my God, how'd you do that? But someone who's always been in shape, you're like, whatever. not that exciting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's the same type
My
of
life
kind
is the biggest loser. Tune in, you guys. This is.
I
gonna
find
be
it
good.
fascinating because like I'm obsessed with all these like self-help and spiritual teachers and like people who founded like like Buddha and Reiki and like the common theme is that they were like so low in their life and were so rock bottom.
Right.
And then they had like this major profound realization which led them to like discovering true love and writing all these books and like Wayne Dyer, like all these people, Eckhart Tolle or whatever, how you say his name. We've been saying Tolle for years, but it's Eckhart Tolle. But
Is Eckhart Tolle? I always say Tolle too.
I always say Tolle, yeah.
I'll never stop saying Tolle.
But don't you find that fascinating? It's like all of these healers, spiritual gurus or what, that have helped humanity on such a global level with consciousness, like they were almost committing suicide. Like they were literally like, okay, they were at the worst point of their life.
So you guys,
don't you guys
just
find
like,
that fascinating?
Can you guys
Yes.
hit your rock bottom a little bit faster, please? So we can...
Yeah,
But
from the
that's-
most darkness, you can reveal the
Yeah.
most light.
Yes,
for
totally.
sure.
So that was I guess I was trying to get to saying how like the universe loves a
I
challenge.
love it. It's so cool. I think it's like a really fun game.
It is. That's why it's
Sometimes.
about embracing the challenge. Don't resist what is. If you feel like if you've said to yourself, "Oh, I'm so screwed up. I'm so this. I'm so that." Okay, great. Embrace that.
Yeah.
Now start from that point and move forward. Don't spend any more time.
What about
resisting
people who are in a place in their life where they like just don't feel aligned? They don't know what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't found their passion yet.
Basically,
What do
first
you-
of all,
what's-
acceptance is the first step, and saying instead of resisting who you are, first of all accepting, okay, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know where I want to go or how I'm going to get there. I'm starting from that place, and it's okay. And now all I need to do is start to kind of wrap my head around some ideas of the things that I might like, see which one feels the best, and then start to go in that direction. And then as you start to go in that direction, you always use your inner compass, which is like, that's what our gut instinct and our feeling is really for, is to help guide us like signposts along the way. And if we use that, then we're good to go. But the thing is, when we're in that position and we're just resisting who we are and comparing ourselves to other people
And kind of feeling down about it.
yeah, feeling like there's something wrong with me for not knowing what I want to do. It's okay. Not everybody wakes up so passionate about one thing. That's totally fine.
Yeah, we're not all Will Smith.
No, some people are wired that way and some people aren't. And that's so fine. It's just basically embracing who you are, starting from that place and realizing your only purpose is to be fulfilled. Whatever that looks like for you, go for it. It doesn't need to match up to anyone else's standard at all.
Oh,
I love that.
I love that too.
That's a hard one for us these days, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
the
with
way
social
everything-
media.
Oh my God, it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
What are some like good ways for us to finish 2018 so strong that we just like
Come out on top.
we come out on top? That's what I'm trying to say. I was gonna say that I can't even say what I was gonna say.
No, say it. I
You
want
guys, I'm definitely gonna erase this part, but I was gonna be like, how do we like hump 2018 into submission?
I love that.
I think you should totally keep that. That's incredible.
Okay, so how do we do that?
How do we dry hump the rest of 2018 into completion?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the thing is basically like, first off, really accepting yourself for who you are right now in this present moment.
I love that.
That's where it all begins. The moment you say, okay, I am totally embracing who I am, even if even if I haven't reached whatever goals I thought I would reach up until this point, it's really just accepting this is where I'm at right now. And right now is where life is in this present moment. So if I start here, kind of take the lessons from the past, but then let the rest of it go. Start from this point, accept yourself for who you are and where you're at, and then establish what it is that you want to do, and then a step-by-step plan of how you're going to get it, and being easy on yourself along the way. I don't mean like babying yourself through things, and when you are meant to get up and do a list of things that you established you were supposed to do, and you don't do them, saying, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. But you can say, all right, I didn't do it today. I'm going to do better tomorrow. But spend no more time on the I didn't do it today.
Whoa, yes, okay.
That's the thing.
No more beating yourself up.
Well,
about the
because
past.
Beating yourself up. It's wasted time.
The thing with the change, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, not everyone can, thank God, but like I can feel that I want to change. I can feel that I am changing, but I can also feel like, but you haven't really ever done it before.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, you don't get stuck on that.
Absolutely not. Remember, every time you say something like that, that's your ego trying to stay safe, trying to stay alive. Your ego likes the familiar. Even if the familiar is a miserable place, your ego loves it because there's nothing to be afraid of, because it recognizes all of it. It recognizes the fights. It recognizes the insecurity. It recognizes when you're lazy, if that's what you're kind of doing. It's like, this is who I am, and it will fight to keep you there. So if you decide, I'm not going to have that, or I'm not going to feed that voice any more of my conversation, I'll hear it and I'll witness it, but I won't engage with it. And I'll say, okay, may have never changed before, but that doesn't mean anything about what I can do now.
Right.
And then it's maybe having that one moment to witness that thought, but then engage with the voice that wants to change.
Yes.
That's the work, and what we need to do in order to finish 2018 feeling amazing is by saying, I'm really ready to let go of this story that I've compiled of who I am, as opposed to saying who I want to be is all based on the choices I make in this present moment and moving forward. That's who you truly are, is real endless possibility and pure love. So if we start from that place, we're good to go. That's who we all are at our core.
Yes.
It's all the other madness that we've defined ourselves, and that definition holds us back, because then you're just perpetuating some old story of who you were back in the 90s. I'm just kidding.
I love the 90s. I truly...
The 90s were amazing.
I need to let it go. Do we have any more questions for this brilliant man? Besides all of them?
Well, I know. Yeah. What is, I guess, what's the most common question that you get from people?
What is the most common question I get? It's interesting because usually...
Or is there something we haven't asked you that you feel like is necessary to say?
I think the most important thing I would love to kind of just share is right now, in terms of relationships, they've kind of gotten a bad rap. Everyone, when they mention relationship, I can just see it. When I'm in a session and a relationship comes up, people almost freeze, because relationships are seen now as a burden or a responsibility, or something that confines you to not having independence. That's a bad relationship. Relationships actually can be a team where both people are better because they have their partner with them. Someone supportive, that loves you, that you have communication with, that you feel stronger as an individual. That's what a relationship can be. If we know that's what a relationship can be, we'd be so much more excited about being in one. But everyone's running from relationships right now because they're terrified that it's going to be like the one they had last time.
Okay, Sean, I'll date you. My God, that was
I think
beautiful.
he was making eye contact with me when he was saying that, so you need to back off. That's why I have been single, because I'm scared that it's gonna, by being with somebody, my identity is gonna be removed, and
Right.
I'm not gonna have the freedom to pursue my dreams, and that's completely insane of me.
But the thing is, most people think that way, and it's only because of their past experiences and because of kind of what they see maybe with other people's relationships. But the truth is, if we can really just wrap our head around the idea that if we're being the best version of ourselves and we're willing to communicate openly and honestly with the people that we care about, a relationship can be the best thing that ever happened to you.
It can help you grow at leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like the relationship with yourself and the relationship with someone else. It's that's what it's all about. All of our lives are based on relationships. So if we start to embrace the idea that relationships are exciting, whether they're romantic, friendship, whatever, I mean, especially the romantic ones, because those are the ones getting a majorly bad rap right now. But it's if we just embrace the idea that relationships are kind of what we're meant to have, that's why we're not on this planet by ourselves, then embracing that and understanding that communication is what's going to help us kind of win in that game of life, then we'll be good to go.
Communication's everything.
Communication is everything.
This podcast is going to be called Communicate with Me.
Oh my God. You make me want to be a better person.
You
I
make
love
me
that.
feel so
Thank
calm.
you.
I know.
I'm so calm.
I really
that's
feel like this
awesome.
was like a game changing
He's such a gift.
conversation.
You're a gift to
Aw,
humanity.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you have any tips of like how you can bring love into your life?
Ooh, yes. That's good.
That's a good one. Okay, so tips for bringing love into your life. First of all, ask yourself honestly, when I think of love, what do I truly believe? Because then you're going to really find out what your wiring is and what your kind of subconscious programming is around love. And be honest with yourself about what that is. And then think to yourself, is that belief something that I want to keep? Is that inspiring?
Is that serving?
Right. Is that exactly? Is that serving my life? Is that helping me bring love into my life? And if it's not, then it's saying, okay, that's just based on my conditioning, which every day we have a choice to reprogram our conditioning based on how we decide to perceive the world and the choices we make. So bringing love into your life is going to start with first believing that it's truly possible. That it's not just something that we see in a Disney movie. It's like the reason why we love those movies as kids, or we love romantic comedies or whatever, is because it touches something within us that wants that and that knows it's real. And life lasts more than, an hour and 30 minutes, yes. But when you want to bring love in your life, you have to understand that it's going to take work, like everything else. Just like loving yourself takes work. But it's rewarding when you do it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more rewarding. And if you have that relationship with yourself, with the people in your life, with your work, then you will be inspired on a daily basis to be fulfilled through the ups and downs. I'm not saying you're always going to feel good. There are days you wake up feeling like crap. It's natural. It's human. But within that, you're saying, okay, what can I love about today? And what's the best way to do that?
Also with like calling in love, what if you like follow couples on Instagram that you like want to emulate, that you like?
That's great. I mean, if they
Is that
inspire
weird?
you,
We haven't started a joint account yet, Megan.
yeah, how could you follow us when we haven't even started this? Meanwhile, I'm so like naive to Instagram. The only reason why I ever started was because we did the first podcast. And
But
Megan
I love
is
your Instagram.
Thank you.
We were looking at it today. It's I think following people that are in love is great.
anything that's going to inspire you to have it for yourself is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's
I do
like
that.
seeing it to believe it, as opposed to seeing it to compare and feel less than. If you're inspired by it,
I'm inspired by it, yeah.
Awesome. Then
And
it's
if you're
a beautiful
claim
thing.
it, claim it. We have to
Yes.
claim it.
I'm like,
Exactly.
this exists. So like for this couple, and like that can exist for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It
Amen.
100% can.
You guys, best convo ever, as usual.
Oh, this
loved
was
it.
so
How
You
great.
guys have to come over every day.
I know. How do they find you?
Never leaving.
How did you find me?
How do they find you? I know how I found you. Stalking you.
We were star-crossed lovers from the beginning. But how can they find me? They can find me on Instagram at Astrology Guy.
Yep.
Right? That's my Instagram.
And if they want a session, do they email you?
They email me through astrologyguidechannel@gmail.com, because I have a YouTube channel. You can check that out and then email me through that.
Astrology Guide Channel.
Yes.
At Gmail.
Exactly.
And on that, you do like Skype sessions and sessions with people.
Absolutely.
whatever.
I
Okay.
do Skype sessions all the time. I have clients all over the world.
Perfect. Well, Dana, how can they find you?
At Dana Moon Me.
Find
Megan.
me at Megan Granger, and go to the Superficial Magic page on Apple Podcasts and rate it 5 stars and give it a good review.
And share this episode with a friend
Yeah,
if
share
it
it with a friend
inspired
or
you.
9 friends or whatever. We will talk to you soon. We love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was incredible.
This is what you gotta do.
Ain't no treadmill.
No, 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 ain't no bicycle. No, no,
Do
no,
we do it on a yoga mat?
no, no, no.